And we're back here with a bonus game between Warmother's Children and Imagine Wagons. I'm Random Minion Caster, and this was a game that should never have been played, but was. And so we are going to just cast it for fun, stream it for fun here between both teams. On the blue side, we do have Imagine Wagons, who have already lost this series. Once again, in the top lane, XX Wolf; in the jungle, Granddaddy Jax; in the mid lane, Phallic Phenom; and the bot lane is Finny and Heal Slowat. On the red side, we've got ourselves Warmother's Children, who won the first two games here. First one off a forfeit, second one off a well-played game here, with Curtis Rocks in the top lane, Cromulus in the jungle, Deathstone 9 in the mid lane, Ancient Fear and Viperisk in the ADC and support roles respectively. Now looking at the bans here on the side of Imagine Wagons, not quite sure why they lost yet another ban, but they've only got 3 bans here. Yasuo, Jinx, and Misfortune. They don't want to give the Jinx over to Ancient Fear once again. Saw what he could do with that hyper carry in the late game. And on the red side here for Warmother's Children, pardon me, is going to be the Yuumi ban. They do not want Heal Slowat to get their hands on the Yuumi once again. She did amazing work with that in game 1 and in past splits as well. I was just informed that Heal Slowat is actually Vixen from, or Yuumi only from the spring split. So also another spring split champion back in the league here. They ban out Warwick, Set, Echo, and Nami as well. So Granddaddy Jack's not going to get his hands on the Warwick once again. Now, in terms of picks, we see a first pick Shen here from Imagine Wagons. That's going to the top lane here for XX Wolf. Going to pick the Tristana, Jax, Syndra, and Thresh up as well. So going to have themselves a late game hyper carry of their own in that Tristana. And that Jax most likely going to go over into the jungle for Granddaddy Jax. That's the champion for which his account is named. So I'm hoping to see a great performance come out of him here. On the side of Warmother's Children, we see the Mordekaiser once again, but this time on the other side, instead of XX Wolf, it's going to be Curtis Rocks playing the Mordekaiser. Cromulus getting a hold of that Volibear once again. In the bot lane, Leona, Caitlyn for Ancient Fear and Viperisk, and yet another late game champion here for Ancient Fear in the form of Caitlyn this time. So definitely will fit his playstyle. And in the mid lane, it's going to be Diana there for Deathstone 9. So lots of changes here for both teams. Now, in terms of team composition, on the side of Warmother's Children, the red side here, it's fairly solid composition. They all want to go in except for Ancient Fear. And Ancient Fear are going to want to stay back out of the fight and just free fire into the midst of it from range. Doesn't want to get jumped, but we'll have to be careful here because on the side of Imagine Wagons, they have quite a few champions who can reach the Caitlyn. You've got the Jax who can just hop in and counter strike. You've got the Syndra as well, one of the longest range single target stuns there with the knockback on the orbs. And not to mention the burst from Unleashed Power as well can just 100 to 0 Ancient Fear there if he ever does manage to catch him. And then there is, of course, the Tristana, who at the end of the game will outrange Caitlyn just barely. So we'll be able to fire back on Caitlyn anytime Caitlyn's in range. And in the individual main lane matchups, pardon me here, I am expecting to see the side of Imagine Wagons have an advantage in the mid lane. Syndra into Diana. We've seen that plenty of times where the Syndra just manages to stop Diana from engaging time and time again. Bot lane will come down a lot to whether or not Heal Slowat can stop the engages coming out of Viperisk there. So we'll have to see that. And it appears actually it's going to be a Trist mid for Phallic Phenom. And it's going to be Finny playing the Syndra in the bot lane instead. Okay, so definitely a much more different matchup here. And I'm surprised that they're going to opt to do that considering the matchup putting Tristana into a Diana there might be a little rough. We'll have to see how that ends up going for the likes of Phallic Phenom. And the bot lane, though, this should be beneficial because now Ancient Fear are going to have to be very, very careful that they don't get bursted down at level 6 and just get absolutely melted there. But yeah, top lane, we should see Mordekaiser do fairly well into the Shen. We've seen this matchup before, and Shen does struggle a little bit into the Mordekaiser. A bit more of a skill matchup, though, so we'll have to see how that goes. And both teams are going to be loading up here onto the Rift. So we'll be transitioning over as well here. We do see pings coming down all across the map here, but it doesn't look like either team really wants to invade. Got an interesting split here with 3 people on the side of Imagine Wagons going down to that bot side. Grand Ajax is going to now split and cover that entrance, so they will have most of the entrances covered here. They do spot out Viperus though, but I'm not sure Finny and Heelslow want to keep going in on that. It looks like they're just going to get some deep vision here. They want to see which side Cromulus is actually going to start here. And that answer is not, the vision not going to be answered. Instead, there's going to be a pink ward dropped really early here into the pixel bush on the top side river. I'm really surprised actually to see that being purchased and dropped that early. And Curtis Rocks going to start with boots in that top lane. That is a very interesting start for himself. And unfortunately, that vision ward going to be lost almost right away here. So that's going to be free gold into the pocket of XX Wolf here. Both junglers going to start at their respective reds, and Cromulus going to start here without a leash at all. They're going to know he's starting the red buff because they don't see him on the blue, but there's not any leash across the lane. So in the bot lane, Ancient Fear and Viperus going to start shoving a bit early here for themselves. And they're going to try and rush that level 2 as fast as they can, because if they can get it, they can look for that engage right away. Heelslow did pick Flay for the level 1, so might be able to stop the Zenith Blade engage. It'll come down to how fast her fingers are and whether she can really disengage and stop Vipers from getting onto them there. But in the top lane, Curtis Rock's getting a bit of the bad end of the trade. It looks like those boots don't give him any combat stats, so we'll have to be careful early. Does manage to hit level 2 first though, so we'll be able to skill up and bounce back. But XX Wolf now also level 2. They're just farming it out for now. Bot lane, both bot lanes hit level 2 as well. We didn't see the instantaneous engage coming out of Vipers on that Leona right off the bat. And now both are fairly balanced, so we'll have to see where things go. The death sentence coming out. They do find Vipers, and they are going to go for the engage here. The play is good. Mid lane, there's a fight as well. Explosive shot onto Deathstone. The jump as well. Can he get the kill? Yes, that's going to be first blood in the mid lane for Phallic. Phenom, the burst is real. Top lane though, Curtis Rock's in a spot of bother as Granddaddy Jack's gonna find him there. And they pick themselves up 2 kills here on the side of Imagine Wagons, potentially a third as Vipers gets caught once again. The Ignite coming down, the flash from Finny as well. They're looking to try and get Ancient Fear. Can they? The cooldown on the stun coming up in about 3 seconds, but Ancient Fear just stuck in the middle of a whole bunch of minions. Finny going to be able to pick that up, but that's 4 kills here for the side of Imagine Wagons across the map. Well played from them. The only one to not go down there gonna be Cromulus, who was busy farming up his jungle here. He didn't want any part of any of that. His teammates just caught in bad position after bad position here. And Curtis Rock's gonna teleport back into the lane, picking himself up that Ruby Crystal. So no Duran's items for him here. He's gonna start just building components right away, so he won't miss much at all in terms of CS, because he did use that teleport. But XX Wolf gonna have the teleport advantage on him, not to mention the Stand United once he hits 6 as well. And bot lane Heelslow gonna take a bit of poke on the walk away there. Does have to be careful. Surprisingly mid lane though, Tristana very strong early. That explosive shot combined with the rocket jump can often catch people by surprise. And the poke that he managed to get down onto Deathstone before the engage was really solid. So Deathstone gonna have to be careful in the next little while as well. He is down a level, and Phallic Phenom surprisingly turning this one on its head. We'll have to watch out level 6 though once Moonfall becomes available for Diana as well. It can interrupt the rocket jump and can do a lot of damage if they get both ticks off there. Now Granddaddy Jack's roaming down towards that bot side. There is a ward in the bush. It's been pinged out. They know it's there, but the engage is good. There's a stun, double stun in the bot lane. Viper is gonna get caught out here. The flash coming out from Ancient Fear will keep him alive, but Viper is gonna be the sacrifice there. Ignite coming down onto Granddaddy Jax, but it really will not accomplish much, and that's gonna be the 5th kill for the side of Imagine Wagons, unanswered from Warmother's Children. Good thing this is just a bonus game, and Warmother's Children already picked up the win on the series here. Perhaps that's the mindset they're coming in with, experimenting a little bit. They already have the win here for week 2, so able to just try things out a little bit. And surprisingly, this game, Cromwell is not able to really start getting the aggressive roams off that he did in game 2 here. Is having to just sit back and farm a little bit, try and make sure he has an advantage when he decides to show up in the lanes, because his laners are struggling a little bit here across the board. Top lane Curtis Rocks, though, doing well for himself despite giving up the early kill there to the gank, is still up in CS. Is still dominating, is up a level as well for now. XX Wolf on that Shen. Gonna have to play passive, gonna be shoved in a little bit. And we've seen what happens when Mordekaisers start to get really far ahead. They become nigh ungankable with the Death Realm ultimate available to them. It can also isolate and force and cancel Shen's Stand United and teleports as well. Now here we go. Here's the gank from Cromless, but a good rocket jump away from Phenom will see him safe under turret. And after that explosive starts, both teams taking a bit of time to reset here. The explosive shot going on a minion means that Phallic Phenom is going to take quite a bit of damage, but a beautiful buster shot into turret. Moonfall coming down with the ignite. Death Stone turning away, though, will end up going down. And that's one of the unfortunate things about Diana. She goes in, she does not come back out. Very binary champion. She either gets the kill or she gets killed, and unfortunately for Deathstone there, he hesitated, turned away, does go down, and that's going to be the 2nd solo kill there for Phallic Phenom in the mid lane. The richest person in the game right now, and now Granddaddy Jax reprising the gank in the top lane. There were no wards, so he's going to be able to find Curtis Rock, but the Death Realm onto Granddaddy Jax. He's not 6 yet, is running around the edge of it, just trying to find somewhere safe to go. Will be able to survive long enough to get out, hop to a minion, and now Cromless showing up. The flash from XX Wolf to keep himself safe as he sees Cromless coming in, and that is the concern that we were talking about there with Mordekaisers when they get ahead. That was a gank initiated from Imagine Wagons, but it's Warmother's Children who really seems to come ahead in that gank there. Getting the flash out of XX Wolf, gonna make him that much easier to gank next time if Cromless decides to show up there. And Curtis Rock just putting down the abuse there. Bot lane is the opposite though. The stun coming out, the unleashed power, no, they don't quite have it yet. It's not level 6, now has unlocked it, but did not need it. The ignite and just the orbs alone were enough to pick Vipers up yet again, and Vipers not having a good game here in game 3, going 0-3-0. On a Leona, that is basically a death sentence in and of itself as well. Leona wants to go and wants to get aggressive, but if you are so far behind, what can you do? At this point, it might almost be better to just pick up Moby Boots and leave Ancient Fear alone. But the death sentence lands, the unleashed power comes out, and Healslow going to be the one to pick up the kill in the bot lane right now. Both bot laners for Imagine Wagons 2-0-3 here. Just absolutely popping off all across the board here for Imagine Wagons. Only XX Wolf, unfortunately, struggling a bit in lane. If not, it's 2 kills apiece for everyone else on the side of Imagine Wagons. And Warmother's Children yet to find any kills yet to find themselves on the board whatsoever. Imagine Wagon's going to start up this Cloud Trick, but they do have to be careful. Finny here out of mana and Healslowut out of health. So it might go down if they decide to fight this one. Granddaddy Jack's going to hop out. They drop a ward there, but we'll have to see if Warmother's Children feels confident starting this up. It looks like they will not. Just get some vision there. They just want to dissuade Imagine Wagons from starting it up here in game 3. And this is a really dangerous position for Warmother's Children. They don't want to be on the back foot. They don't want to be passive. They want to be the ones engaging these fights. Because while Caitlyn does scale very well, that is a Tristana on the other side who will scale equally well. And on top of that, they have a Syndra who can insta-burst Caitlyn if you can find her. Can burst down Diana as well. or the Mordekaiser. So letting that skill, and they are doing really well. Cromulus forced the flash immediately as the leap strike comes out from Granddaddy Jackson. That's gonna be clout for the side of Imagine Wagons. They're just shredding it right away, and Warmother children not really in position to answer that right now. We'll give that dragon over the way of Imagine Wagons. Granddaddy Jax having a much better game here on the Jax that he is named after compared to the game to Mumu here. Is able to find those ganks, is able to be proactive, has looked for gank in multiple lanes right now. But top lane, they cannot afford to leave Curtis Rocks unattended here. He will continue to be an absolute menace, and for the side of Warmother's children, that is the bright shining light that they might have to play around, waiting till Curtis gets this turret or decides to start roaming and spreading his leads to the other lanes. Imagine Wagons up about 2,500 gold, but when you look at where it's spread, there's a 900 deficit in that top lane actually, but Granddaddy Jax in that top lane once again. Death Realm coming down yet again onto Granddaddy Jackson. He has to be careful. He is 3 levels down right now from Curtis Rocks. Cromulus the one going to pick him up as he exits the Death Realm there. Now, XX Wolf has to be careful. Stormbringer used preemptively there. I'm not sure that was the best use of it. Might have wanted to save it for the turret dive, and unfortunately, XX Wolf going to survive once again. Granddaddy Jack's going to pay the price on that one. And that will allow Cromulus and Deathstone here to go and pick themselves up the Herald. First Herald of the game, and it'll be great for them to be able to take that, drop it, maybe potentially bot the top lane, and look for that first turret easy, because mid lane, they're struggling. That turret's already down to only 2 plates. That's a Tristana able to shred things down. And bot lane, Solar Flare comes out. They've got Heal Slot under a tower, but the stopwatch does manage to come out. They will still be able to pick her up though, and the Unleashed Power not going to be able to find Ancient Fear under his own turret there. So well played from the side of Warmother's children. They're starting to show signs of life as they fire back here, getting kills in the top and bot lanes, as well as picking up Herald for themselves here. In this game, they're going to give the Herald over to Cromulus. Not going to drop it immediately. Actually, pardon me, just as I say that, they do decide to drop it immediately into the top lane, looking for that first turret gold. That first turret really, really low, down to 163 health. Will not be able to take it down. Unfortunately, they just miscalculated a little bit there, but that should be an easy take for Curtis Rocks as soon as he gets back into lane there. Bot lane, Ancient Fear very low on health. We see the flashes coming out from Heal Slow What and Ancient Fear, but the teleport coming from Curtis Rocks into the bot lane. Will it be in time? No, it will not. It's going to be Viperous going down, and we see the Stand United coming down as well to match the teleport coming out of Curtis Rocks, and they will be able to find Vipers. It's going to be a 1-for-0 in favor of Imagine Wagons there. Unfortunately, no other real major objective for them to pick up. They could look to get some plates, but that bot lane turret still fairly healthy, and Curtis Rock's going to stick around here to defend that turret, make sure they don't lose first turret here. And while all this is happening, Granddaddy Jack's happy to go to that top lane, shove it in, pick up some minions as well for gold and experience, pick up some plate gold to even things out. Trying to find a lead onto Cromulus here, but that just brings him barely even in terms of gold, and Cromulus is going to roam towards that top side as well, see if he can pick up Granddaddy Jax. He's running in, will get the stun off, but it's outside turret range, so he's just going to back right off and take the minions instead. No need to over chase there in that top lane, and he's also a bit of level down as well. Does have the item lead though, did go back, and Granddaddy Jax sitting on about 1,000 gold here for himself. Did see the roam coming out from Heal Slowat into the mid lane, looking to see if he can get Deathstone, but honestly, even if he doesn't, it's going to be perfectly fine, because Falcon Phenom able to find himself some experience lead, some CS lead in the mid lane here. Definitely not the way I thought that mid lane would go, but Falcon Phenom doing incredibly well for himself. They don't shut down that skilling ADC. He's already picked up an Infinity Edge, already had the Zerker's Greaves, so it's going to get that much harder. And it looks like Deathstone opted for a Dark Seal start, going for a Rod of Ages, but Finny getting caught by the Soul of the, taking a burst of damage. Can he survive? Took the Lantern but walked back in. Will have to flash out, but Heal Slot will block the ace in the hole, and Finny gonna somehow survive all that CC and initiation here. Is extremely low though. That has to be careful as Cromwell is now waiting in the wings. Top lane though, Curtis Rocks managed to get the first turret of the game. He is going to drag XX Wolf into the Death Realm here. Will get the flash out as well, but Death Realm about to expire. Can he get XX Wolf in time? No, he cannot. And Granddaddy Wolf showing up will enable XX Wolf to pick up the kill. Bot lane, Viperous diving a little bit too hard, will go down there to Finny, but that's the unleashed power used. They're gonna Stormbringer the turret, but why? Cromulus can't dive that. Will have to flash his way out to safety instead. And now Ancient Fear stuck under the turret, gonna take a lot of damage here. Has to be careful. If the call the Meek here coming out from Finny catches him, he will get dropped. So we'll have to disengage there, and that's such an unfortunate dive. While all that's happening, Phallic Phenom able to take the mid turret down to even up the turret score, and gets a lot of damage down, almost 70% of that mid lane inner turret as well. And just misplays coming out from the side of Warmother's children, not quite getting their synergy together. They're going to start themselves up the second Drake of the game, the Ocean Drake at 16 minutes. Very, very late here, but first Drake take was extremely late as well. And that's going to be Ocean Drake, so it will be a nice bit of regeneration, but laning phase might be over as we did see the top outer turret for the side of Imagine Wagons go down, and the mid outer turret for the side of Warmother's children go down as well. We should be seeing a lot more roaming, and now Granddaddy Jax in the mid lane looking to try and find Curtis Rocks. Curtis Rocks able to just walk away on that one, will remain safe for now. And they've instead decided to send Deathstone up to that top lane. They think that's the safe place to send him, but XX Wolf putting down the hurt right now onto Deathstone. Has to be careful though. That's a Conqueror Diana. She'll be happy to trade. The Ignite coming down. Now XX Wolf looking like he might go down here. That's going to be yet another kill for... Sorry, that's going to be the first kill for Deathstone, pardon me. I thought he managed to pick something up earlier, but no. That's going to be very, very good for him, because XX Wolf, unfortunately, not able to survive in the 1v1. And that's going to set Imagine Wagons a little bit further behind, because they wanted XX Wolf to be able to split push, but right now he can't match either solo laner. And now Finny separated from Heal Slowat, will get nailed, will get shut down, and the kill credit going to go over to Viperisk yet again. Ancient Fear not going to be happy about this, as he's yet to be able to pick himself up a kill. Top lane, Granddaddy Jax gonna thank Deathstone up for starting the Gromp there. We'll just go in Leap Strike and a Smite to happily pick himself up a big camp there in the jungle. Now Warmother's children, surprisingly, the first team to find the second turret of the game for themselves in the bot lane, no less. We had seen Finny and Heal Slowat absolutely dominate the 2v2, but somehow it's going to be Ancient Fear, and Viper is going to be the first ones to get their turret in that bot lane. And now Finny gonna go to that bot lane. Does not have teleport, taking the heal here, while the rest of his team grouping up around the Herald. It looks like they don't want to give Shelly over again to Warmother's children. They regret the damage it took on that top wave, giving first turret over the way of Warmother's children. They're going to clear out the ward, but they have to be careful. Deathstone going in, and a beautiful death sentence onto Cromulus to stop the engagement. Now the Zenith Blade does not land, so Vipers will have to walk his own way in there, but everybody else has arrived. It's a 4v3, and Granddaddy Jax looking to disengage. The Zenith Blade missing once again mid lane. Finny gonna face off against Curtis Rock. The Death Realm being used here, but it's actually Curtis who's taking the brunt of the damage. He does manage to get the last mace off, and it's gonna be Finny going down in the Death Realm just by inches there. Now the taunt coming across. Death Zone, Heal Slowat in as well, and Phallic looking to get in the rocket jump. The damage coming down onto Vipers. They will be able to find Granddaddy Jax, but they'll return the kill onto Deathstone instead. Now Cromulus going down because the very, very fair Tristana has arrived. He's going to pick up a double kill for himself. Phallic Phenom onto onto Cromulus, and Viper is going to here, and now looking for a triple onto Ancient Fear. The flash is coming out from both, but it won't be enough. The explosive shot combined with the burst of the crit, gonna pick himself up a triple here onto Ancient Fear, and Imagine Wagons popping off here. 5-0 Oh, on Phallic Phenom, he's absolutely doing work. They pick up Shell, you're going to drop it right away in that top lane, pick themselves up another turret to even up the turret score here. And they could escort it into the inner, but unfortunately it looks like Phallic Phenom has gone back to the mid lane, did not decide to push with Shelly, and that's going to be the end of the push for now from Imagine Wagons. But they're going to be up 4,000 gold from this 15-6, the kill score right now, and a 700 gold bounty sitting on Phallic Phenom. This champion switch working really well for the side of Imagine Wagons. Maybe they should consider letting Phallic be their starter ADC. Switch Finny to the mid lane instead, because he's doing really well for himself. But on a more strategic level, having the ability to play mages into the bot lane is an extremely big advantage here. Viper is getting caught up potentially. Does use the Solar Flare, but it's too little, too late. And Phallic Phenom gonna be dominating 6-0 now. You just can't be caught out right now anywhere near the Tristana or the Syndra. Both of them putting out such big bursts of damage despite being somewhat tanky. Viper's just not enough health right now to survive being caught out, and I don't think anybody really. Cromless, the tankiest member, probably would get shredded down as well if he gets found by Phallic Phenom and crowd control. And Imagine Wagons going to continue pushing their advantage. They're looking for the next Drake, but they're going to be able to pick themselves up the mid-inner turret as well. Phallic Phenom picking that one up solo. Inferno Drake has spawned, and there's no vision down here for the side of Warmother's children. They're going to have to give this up or walk into potentially a massive death bush. And that's going to be the third Drake of the game going over the way of Imagine Wagons. And this one going to be a particularly welcome boost to their damage here. Both Phallic Phenom and Finny have been outputting tons of damage. So this multiplier here is going to be a huge deal. We did see the Static Shiv being picked up for Phallic Phenom, and he's picked himself up another crit cloak. We'll have to see what he builds that one into here. But the crits do hurt massively right now with the Tristana, and we are seeing them starting to group up looking for these fights here. XX Wolf has been on his own for the last little while. Still is very far down compared to Curtis Rocks though, so not able to split push properly. We do see Finny being dragged into the death realm against Curtis Rocks. The entire team clustering around, trying to see if they can save him, but they will not be able to. He's going to come right out into the middle of a counter-strike, and a beautiful 3-man moonfall will see Phallic Phenom go down, shut down by Deathstone here. Now Skill Slut the Knicks on the menu, and they're now looking to continue their push. Warmother's children with a beautiful engage onto Finny there. Curtis Rock transitioning that lead he found in the top lane to the other lanes. They get the mid lane outer turret. They're going to be able to easily pick up this mid lane inner turret as well. The Solar Flare coming out will not quite get the stun on anybody. The slow, however, will dissuade Granddaddy Jax and XX Wolf from getting too close there. And that's going to be 2 turrets on this push for the side of Warmother's children. They might have lost the dragon, but instead they pick up 2 turrets for it. And that was a nice piece of gold. 700 gold bounty going on to Deathstone there. The Moonfall doing work. And that will allow Deathstone to go back and purchase another item for themselves. They've got the Nash's Tooth completed. Going to pick up a Blasting Wand as well here. So we'll be able to output even more damage in these next fights. And for all, Leona and Diana might be on opposite sides of the spectrum here. One moon, one sun. When they get their combo off, it's absolutely devastating. Moonfall into Solar Flare is a combination that can swing fights even if they're behind. And they're really not that far behind. Only about 1,200 gold here. We had said in game 2 that despite the gold lead being close, it did not feel like a big difference. It really felt like... it felt like a huge difference, pardon me, despite the gold lead being very close. And here in game 3, it's not the same. Despite the gold lead is small, and it feels that way with the fights swinging back and forth here. If they can get Phallic Phenom safe, he can win a fight. But on the other hand, if Curtis Rock can find a person, he can kill them. He's opting not to go in on Heelstad after death realming. Surprisingly, his team was not quite there to back him up. Ancient Fear seems to just be doing Raptors while the rest of the team is setting for a fight a screen away here. Curtis Rock getting yet another pull, but he does not have the Death Realm available right now. And XX Wolf taking advantage of this to just split push on the bottom side of the map. Does have Stand United available, does have Teleport available, can rejoin his team. And they really need to start pulling the triggers here on these catches that Curtis Rock is getting. He's ahead of the game right now, but not by as much as he was previously. He's up 2k gold against XX Wolf, but he's actually now has less gold than Phallic Phenom. They're starting to waste the advantages that he's accruing for his team here, and he's starting to fall off a little bit, opting to go the defensive Thornmill because he recognizes that Phallic Phenom is extremely fed right now. So rather than building more damage, he's trying to build a bit more survivability for himself. Has now picked up the Haunting Guys as well, so we should be seeing that Leandries that we typically see for Mordekaisers popping up soon. The Ace in the Hole coming out very, very preemptively. Will land onto Finny, get a bit of damage there, but not quite sure it's gonna stick because it's gonna be a minute before Dragon comes up, and it doesn't look like either team really looking to go for Baron right now either. And with that, we have a bit of a break here from both teams. The entirety of Warmother's Children gonna disengage, back off, go shopping a little bit. There's not really a ton of gold on most of these members. Curtis Rock, the richest here, with about 1,200 gold. Nobody else quite breaking the 1,000 mark as they go shopping here. But they are setting up for that next fight. Want to make sure that they're ready. And the crit cloak that Phallic Phenom built has now been converted into that rapid fire cannon, wanting a bit more range. He's already level 14, and looks like Imagine Wagons gonna start up the Baron here. They did have some vision on where Warmother's Children was, but Warmother's Children also going to be able to spot this out, and it looks like there's going to be a fight here. Solar Flare coming out. They kind of catch Finny. It's not the stun. Instead, Cromulus' stun going to be the one going in, and he's going to keep chasing, but Phallic Phenom able to kill him before Finny goes down. He's outputting the damage. Does find Deathzone as well, who did not get the beautiful 4-man Moonfall, and now Ancient Fear dead as well. Only Curtis Rock left alive, but it will not be enough. He will go down. Does manage to find and at least kill Finny here, the initial target. And that's going to be Baron going down to 2,000 health. Granddaddy Jack's really, really low. Might die here. He does go down, and the kill credit going to go over to Curtis Rock. 150 gold bounty there. So unfortunate. Granddaddy Jack should have just backed out. Phallic Phenom and Heal Slowet could have tagged that. Instead, Phallic Phenom and Heal Slowet just going to run straight to that Inferno. Going to look to pick up themselves the Inferno Soul once more. And this is going to be the second game with an Inferno Soul here. Phallic Phenom doing work here for the team. 9-1-2. 500 gold bounty again for himself. And really, this game doesn't so much feel like a game of throws as a game of who's got the stronger back here between Curtis Rocks and Phallic Phenom. And unfortunately for Curtis Rocks, it looks like Phallic Phenom's back is the stronger one here, as he's forcefully dragging his team to victory despite getting caught, despite having a rough engage there with Cromulus running in with the Solar Flare. He does manage to pull out the win in that fight, and this is really bad news for the side of Warmother's Children. That's the hyperscaler on the side of Imagine Wagons, who's getting super fed here. And on their side, Mordekaiser, yes, is a very strong champion, but for a given value of gold in the late game, the Tristana is going to usually win out the trade there in how much utility and how much damage they can bring to the table. So Ancient Fear really needs to scale into that and start taking some of the burden off of Curtis Rocks. And I think for now, if you're on the side of Warmother's Children, you need to find that perfect engage. You need to find the 5-man Solar Flares, 5-man Death Moonfalls, but instead Viper is gonna get killed over the wall, burst immediately. They find the 5-man Moonfall, but it might be a little bit too late there. Curtis Rocks finds Phallic Phenom in the 1v1 in the death round, but a beautiful buster shot to keep him alive, a flash over the wall, and they are gonna find Finny instead. Finny seeming the sacrifice here, but Phallic Phenom able to fire in the backline for safety right now. Will be able to take Curtis Rocks down, pops over the wall. They're gonna find Ancient Fear, they're gonna find Cromulus, and they find the ace for themselves. Imagine Wagons firing back here. Imagine what this could have been if not for that game 1 forfeit. We would have seen a game 3 between the two teams here. Unfortunately, this is gonna be it, and it's gonna be one win apiece for both these teams. Officially on paper, it's gonna be Warmother Children's win here. Vipers using the Gargoyle Stone Plate will have to flash himself out to safety. He's not really going to be able to do anything. Falcon Phenom just going to fire on the Nexus. We'll have to be careful though, because Death Zone finding him, getting the shutdown. That's yet another 700 gold bounty going once again to Death Zone. And we thought this was the end. No, it's not. They failed to do so. They're going to find another kill onto XX Bull. A double kill now for Death Zone. And Warmother's Children able to stave off the inevitable here. They do have an exposed Nexus, but for now they managed to push Imagine Wagons off.
Team's turret has been destroyed.
And what a close game again this game. Very, very back and forth, but this time Imagine Wagons the one in the driver's seat. And honestly, that last kill, those last couple of kills going over the way of Warmother's Children was really just them overstaying, thinking they had the game in their pocket, not watching the death timers closely. They're getting caught up in the excitement of winning that. But despite handing all those kills over, they're still 5,000 gold in the lead. They still have the Infernal Soul. Baron will be spawning in just over 2 minutes here. Elder just over 2.5. They can wait for that, or they can look to push in here. They would probably win this fight at the Nexus on open ground. Level leads almost across the board here for themselves. Level up on everybody except for XX Wolf, who now has caught up in levels to Curtis Rock here. It's gonna come down once again to Deathstone and Curtis Rock. Can they kill Phallic Phenom here? And Phallic Phenom, not feeling like he has to pay the QSS tax, has built a Bloodthirster as well for himself now. So we'll have quite a bit of lifesteal here. There's the Thornmail on Curtis Rocks to cut some of the healing, but there's nothing they can do right now as they lose the outer turret. This is not the hill they want to die on here. They do have to pull the trigger soon though, as XX Wolf gonna split push, does have the stand united, does have the teleport available once again, can afford to just split push that bot wave and split them. There are super minions in that mid wave as well, so really Warmother's Children the one to be dragged all around the map here. And now top lane, we do see Imagine Wagons pushing as 3 Phallic Phenom a little late to the party. The Solar Flare comes down. They're going to find Finny, but they won't be able to get him before it goes down. It's going to be Heal Slow up picking that up. Granddaddy Jax going in. Will get the counter strike onto Cromulus. Unleash power as well. Not enough. But the just continued autos will be, and Phallic Phenom just going to focus that turret down. They've got the inhibitor turret down. Inhibitor next to follow, and Deathstone gonna take a bit of poke here. Has to be careful. That's yet another inhibitor down, and a lot of space for them to fight this out. The Moonfall comes down, will find Granddaddy Jax, but Phallic Phenom gonna be able to burst it out immediately. Curtis Rock's looking for Phallic Phenom, but there's a lot of mobility in that kit. The rocket jump to safety, the Buster Shot, and now they're out of the Death Realm. Curtis Rocks will be able to pop down. That's an ace for Phallic Phenom, and that's gonna be the game as they go for the Nexus in a 32, almost 33-minute match here. Well played from Imagine Wagons. They fire back. Double Nexus explosion. Well played as well. And that is gonna be Imagine Wagons winning this bonus game for themselves here. Unfortunately, it won't go down into the books, but it will be a bit of a consolation prize and a confidence booster for themselves here. 31-18 the final score, and this was really all about Phallic Phenom here in the mid lane for Imagine Wagons. Absolutely just popping off 14-2 and 6 the final score here. Able to 1v1 Curtis Rocks twice in the end game there. And kudos to the side of Warmother's Children as well. They, considering how overwhelmingly powerful Phallic Phenom was, they managed to make these fights stretch. And a special shout out to Curtis Rocks here in the top lane on the Mordekaiser, really carrying his team through that early game, through that mid game. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough because you need the ADC to put out the sustained damage, and Ancient Fear was just too far behind the item curve here. Was not able to safely fire at all against this team. Finny just put a death mark on his head, just constantly going for him every time he could. Did manage to make sure Ancient Fear had difficulty getting anything off in the fight as well. So well played game from both these teams here, and hopefully next week Imagine Wagons will not have that sort of problem in game 1 where they'll have to forfeit, and we'll be able to see a better series coming out of them here. And with that, that's the game, ladies and gents, between the two teams. Imagine Wagons coming away with with a confidence victory here, while Warmother's Children winning the series. We will see you guys on Friday. We don't know which game is going to be played yet on the live stream, but we hope to see you guys there. Thanks for tuning in to watch this bonus game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys all around.